So maybe you're wondering what is going on with Babylonian numbers, because here are two Babylonian numbers and they really don't match up exactly with what we've been figuring out for all of the other number systems. So I want to give you a little hint about these numbers because they actually work differently. Here's how. So maybe for this number, you're like, okay, this is Babylonian because it has those weird different triangle marks, and I think this is the number 34. So if you guessed 34, you'd be right. Because maybe you were guessing that each of these little arrow markings were worth 10, so that would be the 30. And then if each of these are worth 1, then together you add that whole section together, that's 34, which would be a really great guess. Okay, and then we try to apply the same sort of thing to this side, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 here. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those 10. So this is probably 49 right there. That much. But then we have a big space and then another 10 marker. So that space is probably important. This number didn't have a space. This number does, so they mean different things. And if I looked at my list of numbers, I would probably guess that this is the number 649 because it has that 49 there. What's super confusing about it is that I have a 10 and then a 49. The reason why this one works differently is because it's in what's called a base 60 system. Okay, our numbers that we're used to are in base 10. So 649 written this way, or 34 written this way, are in base 10. What does that mean? It's talking about the place values. So in our base 10 system, when we look at a number, like we learned way back in elementary school, the number here is our ones place. So this means we have 9 ones. The number here is our tens place. So we have 4 tens, 9 ones, and the number here is our hundreds. And we use one symbol for each of those places, and that's how we build up our numbers. Same with the number 34, we have the ones and the tens place. Okay, that's like our normal thing. But the Babylonians didn't count up to 10 before they wrote another place, right? The ones place, we could have up to 9 ones, but if we get a 10th one, we actually add the 1 over here. That's how our numbers work. The Babylonians don't count to 10, they count all the way to 60, because it's a base 60 system. So for them, this number 34, well, the number 34 doesn't get all the way to 60. So all of these things are falling in the ones place of the Babylonian system. That's why it's formed in one little group here. And it works out exactly. These are worth 10 ones, and these are worth 1 1. And so in total, we have 34 ones. Since we haven't reached 60, we don't have to add another place value. In our number 649, well, 649 is way over 60, right? So in this number, there's a ones place for the 49. That's our ones place. And then this one is representing not the tens place, like in our numbers, but the 60s place. So how does this number equal 649? So what this tells me, in the 60s place, I have 10. So that means I have 10 60s. Well, 10 times 60 is worth 600. And then in my ones place, I have 49. So in total, I have 649. So that's the key to Babylonian numbers. If you see a big space, it's not representing a new number, it's representing the new place value. So we have the 60s place and the ones place. I encourage you to look through the rest of your Babylonian numbers. Maybe you pause this video for a second and see if that worked out. When you're ready to come back, I want to show you how you could write your own number in Babylonian. Let's go. So, the number I'm going to write is 12,062. A Babylonian number is going to have a ones place, a tens place, I'm sorry, not a tens place, a 60s place, because we're in base 60, and then if we need it, a 3,600s place. The reason why it's 3,600 is because that's the square of 60. You don't need to really worry about that, but that's how we'll build it. Those are the place values that we're going to use. So the first thing I'm going to do is start all the way to the right and think about how many 3,600s I could fit into that group. So I'm going to use my little calculator here. Okay, well I could definitely fit one 3,600 because I'm working with 12,000. And maybe you're like, Miss G, estimate. Can you use two? Yeah, probably, because that's pretty small. So let's add another one in. Okay, that gets me to 7,200. I have two so far. Maybe I could fit a third. Let's see, add another one. Okay, 10,800. Okay, so if I can fit three full 3,600s, and that's worth 10,800 of my number. So in my 3,600s place, I'm going to put the Babylonian for 3. So Babylonian for 3 is 3 ones. Okay, so these 3 ones in the 3,600 place are worth 10,800. So I need to figure out what's left in my number. So I'll subtract that. So if I've already used 10,800, what's going to be left? And I'll use my calculator to do that because I can, minus 10,800. So left over to put into my 60s and my ones so far is 1,262. Okay. So now I know I'm not going to put all 1,262 into my ones place because that's way more than 60. So I need to figure out how many 60s are going to go into that. One way to do it is like I did the last time, just keep adding 60 together until I get really close to this number. Another way would be to figure out how many times does 60 go into that number. So I could divide 1,262 divided by 60. That gets me to 21 complete times. Okay, so 60 goes in 21 complete times. And how much is that going to be worth in my number? So 21 60s would be 1,260. It's worth that much. In my Babylonian, I need to write 21 because that's how many 60s I can make. So 21 would be 2 10s and a 1. So 21 in my 60s, and then I need to figure out what's left. So I've used, of my 1262, I've used 1260, so I only have 2 left. And those 2 will go left into my ones place right here. So I've officially written my number in Babylonian. It would be 3 of those hash marks, those triangles, a big space, 2 arrows in a triangle, a big space, and then the 2 ones. And that's how that number would translate into Babylonian. So your job, if you've got through your sorting, is going to be to write your own numbers in Babylonian. So you can use this. Oh, there's the bell, time to go. You can use this to help you figure out how to do that.